Dating sucks. For most guys, modern dating is a nerve-wracking process of desperately trying to make a girl like you and jumping through her hoops like a little dog in the hopes of one day maybe getting a crumb of A growing number of men are disgusted by this. They're giving up on dating completely, and I don't blame them. They're right. What you now have to do to attract women or date them as a man in the modern era is disgusting and undignified, and it's a game that's not worth playing. But there is an easy way to create a sexual spark with any woman you talk to without jumping through her hoops, without debasing yourself like a simp, and without trying to make her like you. It doesn't require any effort at all other than being yourself and being unapologetic about it. And when you do this one simple thing, you will create a spark of sexual arousal between any woman's legs, and you will quickly find that you have women all over you. So what am I talking about here? Well, before I introduce you to this, I want to quickly read you a post that a young college girl made on Reddit recently. It gives a pretty good introduction to this concept. The post is called, "Why do I want to fuck someone who I really dislike?" Now she writes there's this dude in my class who's arrogant, know-it-all, loves playing the devil's advocate for no reason, you know the type. And I absolutely do not want to be friends with him or date him. In fact, I roll my eyes every time he talks in class. But God, I so badly want to sleep with him, it's embarrassing. He's kind of attractive, but there are dudes way more attractive in my class who I don't want to sleep with, at least not so aggressively. I just don't understand why. Now, what this highlights is a very strange little secret of female sexual psychology that once you understand it, allows you to create attraction in girls and get laid very, very easily. And that is that one of the easiest ways to make a girl turned on sexually is to disagree with her. It's to be disagreeable, to challenge her, to go against her in some way. If you want to create a sexual spark in a girl, you have to do one of these three things: disagree, disapprove, disqualify. This is the easiest way to create sexual tension and arousal in a woman, bar none. You've got to zig when she expects you to zag. You've got to go against her somehow. Stop trying to make girls like you. Stop being so agreeable and instead be a challenge. Make a proactive effort to disagree with girls more often. This is actually how you turn them on. This is how you make them chase your approval, because this is how you get her to start feeling strong emotions towards you. And once she's feeling emotional towards you, even if they're negative emotions initially, they can be flipped into positive emotions very easily. But if a girl feels no emotion towards you, if she's emotionally indifferent to you, you are never going to be able to turn that into horniness, attraction, or sexual spark. Ever. It's not going to happen. Negative emotions are better than no emotions when it comes to turning girls on. So how do you actually do this? Well, I'm going to give you a few examples here, but the best way to learn this, particularly at the start, it's just a very, very simple formula you can start playing with right now. And this is what we can call the I hate pattern. It's very simple. Whatever a girl says she likes, you say, I hate that. If she says she likes a certain band, you say, I hate that band. If she says she liked a certain movie, you can say, I hated that movie. It sucked. 0 out of 10. Now, you don't say this in a mean or angry way. You want to say this with kind of like a hint of a smile on your face. It's playful, so she knows you're not attacking her, but you just deliver it in a completely deadpan way. And then you let that tension rest there. And then usually what will happen is the girl will be like, but why? And then you know you've got her. She's emotionally reacting to you for the first time. Understand this. For girls, attraction is about emotions, nothing else. Girls love emotions. They love drama. The more different emotions you give her, including negative emotions, the more drama you let her experience, the more turned on by you she will be, the more she will start to chase you. So a good way of training this is just to make it a habit for a while, say for the next month, that whatever a girl tells you about herself or says she likes, you just reply, I hate that. And just that alone, you would be amazed by how much this changes the whole tone of your interactions with women. They become way more flirty with you. She gets that little smile on her face when she talks to you. She has those big anime eyes with the dilated pupils. Girls are so used to every guy kissing their ass that when you do anything that goes against the grain in some way, they're immediately intrigued and attracted to you. So stop being such a people pleaser. Stop telling girls yes. Stop saying, yeah, that's cool. Stop saying, I agree. And instead start saying no. Start saying, I disagree. Start saying, nah, that, that's gay. This is how you give her those strong emotions that actually turn her on. It's how you build that enemies into lovers frame, which is the baseline story of pretty much every single romance novel or romantic movie for women. Some other ways you can do this are by playfully teasing her, playfully mocking her, giving her a hard time. An example is, if a girl does something really simple, like say she puts her coffee cup in the trash, you can compliment her on it in a patronizing way, like, good job, well done. Or like if she's driving and she makes a right turn, it's like, good job on that right turn. Pat on the back. And this is just an example of the kind of playful banter you can have with a girl you're already friends with that is going to make her laugh, but it's also going to make her start viewing you in a more sexual way. It's like, this fucking dickhead, why is he always giving me a hard time? That's the place internally that you emotionally want her to be, because that's where sexual feelings for you actually start to develop. They do not develop from always being nice to her, complimenting her, being kind to her, being friendly. Not to say you can never do those things, but it can't be just that. That is asexual. Sexual attraction is like a fire, and to start a fire, you need a spark. But what creates a spark? Well, it's friction, conflict, disharmony. This is true with literal fire, that you need friction to create it, but it's also true with sexual fire. You can't get a girl turned on by agreeing with her or going with her or harmonizing with her. You've got to create that friction. You've got to create that spark that only comes from going against her in some way. Now, another thing you can use to do this is playfully disqualifying the girl. Like if I'm talking to a girl in the bar, I am always disqualifying her on something. I'm always dropping in these little teases. Like anything she tells me about herself, I just say under my breath, red flag. You know, even if what she said is totally innocent, or I'll say things like, note to self, do not date this girl. And these things very quickly create a frame that gets her to start chasing me. You know, she'll start qualifying herself to you, being overly friendly and nice to you, trying to get your approval. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but the moment I approach a girl, I'm always looking for any reason to start disagreeing with her. And as a side note, this is actually how you can approach a girl and yet still have power in the interaction. You know, a lot of guys are very confused by this because they feel like, well, if I'm approaching her, is that not inherently needy? And the answer is no, because after having approached her, if you now start disagreeing with her, if you disqualify her, if you playfully disapprove of her in some way, this quickly flips the power dynamic and gets it so that she now starts wanting your approval more than you want hers. So, you know, again, when I approach a girl in a bar, my whole vibe, even though I approached her, even though I'm showing interest, is very challenging. It's very disagreeable. Like if she says something, whatever it is, I'm always like, no, fuck that. I hate that. Wrong. Nope. No, that's not the way it is. Actually, it's like this, blah, blah, blah. And it's this very kind of patronizing, condescending, almost mansplaining type of vibe. Like, no, little girl, you don't understand. It's actually like this. And on the face of it, that sounds bad, right? It sounds like what women always complain about. Like, how could being obnoxious and condescending and patronizing actually make a girl like you? Doesn't make sense, right? But it actually does work. And the reason why is that it's a 180-degree difference from what every other guy who approaches her always does, which is to be a friendly, spineless ass kisser and a wuss. So simply because this approach is so different from what everyone else is doing and from what she's already seen before, it immediately makes you stand out in a very positive way. And I know I'm going to get pushed back in the comments. Well, you know, Mike, that wouldn't work. I think girls want more of a nice guy. They want a gentleman and an ass kisser. Well, all I can say is just fucking try it. You know, try it and see the difference. How many times have I got to show you pictures of girls I pulled using this? And it all hinges on this. You've got to go against her, at least at the start. You've got to bust her balls. You've got to disagree. You've got to show her that you're willing to offend her. This is the only way to quickly signal to a girl that you actually have things like dignity, self-respect, a backbone. And that's how you create a sexual spark with any girl almost instantly. It's not about trying to be a friend. It's not about trying to be another people-pleasing little beta orbiter who's kissing her ass. It's about being your own man, being authentic, being willing to disagree with her. And sometimes it's about proactively forcing that disagreement just to show her that you can. Now, a lot of guys will complain here, you know, well, I don't want to play these stupid games with women. You know, I saw a comment from a guy recently about this. He said something like, I refuse to change my core values of being a kind, nice person just to get sexual attention from women. And look, that's fine. You're free to make your own choices. What I would say, though, is that what you call being a kind, nice person, I just call that being an ass kisser to girls who haven't done anything to deserve it. You know, if you've just met a girl, she hasn't done anything to win you over. Why are you being so nice to her? Are you also being this nice to random guys? Are you this nice to homeless people? No. You're only nice to these girls because you want something from them. You're being nice to them because you're trying to make them like you and because ultimately you're trying to manipulate them into giving you sex. Now, there's nothing wrong with that morally. My point is only that it doesn't actually work. The nice guy and the guy like me who's a complete dick are both being manipulative. The only difference is that my manipulation actually works to make the girl like me and his doesn't. So get off your fucking high horse with this, oh, I'm such a nice person bullshit. Are you really though? Or are you only being nice because you're weak? Listen, if you want to continue to go through life like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, then keep being nice to girls. Keep agreeing with everything they say. But if you want to actually start getting laid, then start being more disagreeable. Become a problem. Be a challenge that she has to solve. Be a puzzle that she's excited to figure out the solution to. Disapprove, disagree, disqualify. This is how you get girls chasing your validation, regardless of your looks or money. This is how you create that sexual spark. This is how you make them horny. Okay, so that's how you create a sexual spark with any girl you're talking to in person. But what about over text message? Well, over text, the rules are a little bit different. Over text, disagreeing with a girl isn't always the best way to create this sexual spark. And the reason why is that she can't see your facial expressions or hear your vocal tonality that shows that you're being playful about this. And so I would advise you to not use anything I've said in this video in your text to girls. All of this only really applies for when you're talking to them in person. Now, given that's the case, what does actually work over text? What is the best way to create that sexual spark with a girl over text message or online dating, for example? Well, that's what I'm going to reveal in the next video. It's all about the ultimate secret I found to making girls fall in love with you over text. And this is all based on one psychological warfare technique that was actually developed by the US Army during the Cold War. They called it mind war. And what I discovered over the course of many experiments with online dating is that when you send a girl this simple mind war text I'm going to show you, it influences her subliminally and it makes her desperate to become your girlfriend and go to bed with you. I use this to get some of the girlfriends who you see me with on screen right now. So if you're sick of girls flaking you, ghosting you, or leaving you on red, click the link in the description below and watch the video on the next page to discover this magic 12-word text that programs any girl to fall in love with you using mind control.